Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Believe in San Diego Baseball podcast. My name is Alex Miniak, the voice of Petco Park, alongside my co-host, the three-time All-Star. He is Heath Bell. Heath, welcome to the show today. We got a few things I want to discuss here. One, coming out of a big holiday weekend, I want to take a look at our recent road trip as we come back to Petco Park. Two, I want to take a look at the 2026 schedule. There's some interesting matchups at interesting times, both at home at Petco Park and on the road. And we want to reveal, of course, another nominee number 2 for the Friar Fave Award. But first, want to get to this recent road trip. Wasn't necessarily the prettiest road trip. It's tough to put a nice coat of paint on this. 2-4 against Seattle and Minnesota, dropping our record on the road this season to 33-39. Now, when you compare that to a 43-22 record at Petco Park, boy, they're polar opposites. I got to ask you, as a former player, a former All-Star, why is it so difficult to play baseball on the road?
You know what? Everybody loves to sleep in their own bed, and you have your own routine, and it's kind of more just a routine. It's a mental thing, but also really, I think what it has to do. The only thing that really made me uncomfortable on the road was batting practice. You have almost 2 hours to get ready for the game, or an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes when you're at home. When you're on the road, you only have like 30 minutes after your batting practice. Most places you have about 45 minutes where you just feel rushed, after batting practice, doing your sprints, taking a shower, getting ready for the game, listening to your music, whatever you do. You just feel a little bit more rushed, and you're out of your routine a little bit. Maybe you don't get that downtime. Maybe you don't get the little extra scouting report, whatnot. But gosh, the Padres do really well at home and kind of struggle right now on the road. So, when you play a 4-game series and you split it, you kind of have to say, hey, look, that's a win. But yeah, we went into Minnesota that we definitely should have thumped, and we didn't do any of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been tough. And when you look at the starting rotation, they're not going very deep. They did not go very deep on this tour at all. Seattle, Monday, Sears goes 3 2/3. Tuesday, Cease goes 4 1/3. Wednesday, Darvish goes 4. They get the day off. They go to Minnesota. Cortez, 3 innings. Saturday, Pivetta, 5. Sunday's a bullpen day. I know that we're relying heavily on the bullpen because we got a darn good bullpen, probably the best bullpen in the majors. Are we relying on them too much? Is this a concerning trend that our starters are not going deep enough?
It's concerning our starters aren't going at least 5 innings. I've never been a fan of bullpen day. I'm like, why do we not have a starter? It just does, a game doesn't creep up on you. So, that's a little concerning. And, it's almost like, well, we'll just a bullpen day in spring training is almost like, it's a practice day. It is what it is. That's what it is in college, this and that. But now it's starting to become, no, these games are serious. It's a bullpen day. And trust me, any reliever that will tell you, hey, they got to start a game, it's completely different. Got to come in the second or third inning. It's completely different than the second half of the game. So I think it just, we were just doing things out of the norm, and hopefully the boys will get a good night's sleep at home and do really well at home.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are a couple of players, really, I'd love to tip the cap to. A couple of positive outcomes out of this series. One, Ramon Laureano, first 27 games as a Padre, hitting .307, 23 RBIs, 7 home runs, one of those a grand slam in Seattle. And Heath, we can rewind the tape on this. I said that out of the entire group that we traded for at the deadline, he was going to be the most impactful, and so far, he has proven me right. He's been my best friend.
Yeah, he's doing really well. It's, on the road, it seemed like Machado and Tatis kind of been struggling a little bit. And if we know anything, every time Tatis gets some hits, this team follows, and they usually win. I would love to see a stat on when Tatis and Manny get a hit in the same game. We probably have a 90% win record, and when they don't get hits, we probably have a 70% losing record. So we just need we need our big boys to hit the ball, and I think we'll be fine. Just kind of stumbling into September. It's okay. It's September, and now's the time to shine.
Speaking of big boys hitting the ball, I'm going to throw a tip of the cap to the other side, too. Cal Raleigh, first catcher to hit 50 home runs. He's approaching Mickey Mantle's record for a switch hitter at 54. He's on pace for 60, which would tie him for Babe Ruth, third most in a season in AL history. When you mention a guy with Mantle and Ruth, you're having a good year, and it's been very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to watch Cal this year. He's been crushing the ball. The previous years he only hit power from, I think it was the left side and not the right side. And this year he's hitting more power from the right side. So it's one of those things, if you're a Seattle fan, you got to be really happy and really excited. And hopefully he can do it from year in and year out.
Just a side note on that, too. You think about catchers and why they don't necessarily hit well. They see every pitch. They work with a ton of pitchers. Why can't they hit? You would think that logic says, hey, they know what's coming.
I've always had a theory why catchers struggles hitting, and I've told catchers over the years what to do, and they probably think I'm an idiot, but I really wish the catcher would listen to me. So basically, catchers, you do a lot of work back there. So towards the end of the game, they're probably the most tired consistently every game. Probably one of the best in shape too, whatnot. But anytime the guys swing the bat, if you get a little tired or you're a little bit exhausted, you don't swing as hard, you drop your shoulder, you do something out of the norm. And I always said they should never hit in the morning. This is spring training or training. You should work out, you should do your running, be exhausted, then go hit the cage and start hitting when you're exhausted. So you kind of have game experience where, usually catchers will hit good in the first half, the first 3 innings, and then after that kind of fall off. But, Cal's not doing it this year. So
no,
we'll see how after this season. Hopefully somebody will ask, so, hey, what was your workout regimen? So more catchers can do that.
Yeah, well, he's been the most exciting to watch, in my opinion, since Mike Piazza. Mike is one of the best catchers of all time, and he was one of my favorite to watch. And, of course, growing up a Met fan, I loved watching Mike play. So it's been cool to see someone behind the plate ripping him as much as Cal Raleigh. And another cool point here, the Padres, by the way, still have a 99.3% chance to make the postseason, so we shouldn't be freaking out.
Well, they're only 2 games out of the division right now. So
right.
It's
right.
Here's the thing. Yeah, if they would have won more on the road, probably could have been in first place, but it's how you finish. It's not how you finish August. It's how you finish the season. So I still give them a good percentage chance to win the division this year.
I do too, and again, I'm still greedy, so I'm hanging on. I would love to hang the West banner at Petco Park, and maybe we could present some hardware next year at Petco Park as well. The schedule release for 2026 is out. We've got a very interesting schedule, I think. March 26th, opening day, the earliest opening day in the history of baseball. We open at home at Petco Park against the Tigers. I think that's an interesting, cool way to open the season. One, they're good. Two, you could have a really interesting matchup if Joe Musgrove is healthy and on the hill on opening day against Tarek Skubal. How would that be for March 26th at Petco Park?
I think it's going to be exciting. It's better than starting the season in Detroit where it's really cold. So I think it's going to be fun and exciting, totally different. But I think fans are looking towards it after this season.
And if you want to say different, we roll into a Giant series at home on that same homestand, and then we go to Fenway Park in April for Red Sox opening day. When I think of Red Sox opening days, now I lived in New England for the better part of 14 years. When I think of Red Sox opening days, I do not think Padres, But we seem to be the darlings of the American League between opening against the Tigers at home and then going to Fenway to open against the Red Sox. I think that's another cool matchup.
I just think it's going to be exciting for the boys to open up in Fenway because Boston kind of does things right. It's a party down there that's a few blocks away from the stadium. It's pandemonium, and it's probably a good time. If you get a chance to go to any opening day, that's probably one of the best ones around.
I agree. And when we get to the episode that's around opening day, or at least around that week, I'll have a few places you can go and check that out as well. Then, after we get back, the Mariners come back for Jackie Robinson Day. It's the Vetter Cup, and then we go to Anaheim, and the April series ends against the Cubs at home. So there's some big boy opponents on this schedule in March and April. May, we get the Cardinals at home. We go to Milwaukee and Seattle. And then we get the first series against the Dodgers. Monday, May 18th to Wednesday, May 20th. It's a 9-game homestand that includes the Dodgers, the A's, and then the Phillies on Memorial Day. Again, no slouch.
It's going to be crazy not playing the Dodgers for the first month of the season, but hey, maybe you just don't have to deal with all that anxiety and the fans and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get a good workout getting up to those dates, too. And then we're right back to Philly to start June. And then we come back against the Mets and Reds at home. And then the 22nd to the 28th of June next year, the Braves come in and the Dodgers come back to Petco Park. So the first 6 games against the Dodgers are at Petco Park. That should be a tone setter for the year.
It's let me put it this way. I think guys look at the season and the schedule and just kind of go, okay, first of all, they always look where the family trip's going to be. And then 2, hey, where are we going to go? Am I going to wear some cold clothes this year? Do I have to, rainy clothes, early in the season if you got to go on the north or the east coast. So it's going to be a little interesting. It'll be really cool to get some cool Padre gear going to Boston early, but just because they're going to be wearing stuff that they normally don't wear. But the season rolls out, it's always exciting. It's always exciting seeing all the teams that you're going to play and when you're going to play them and who's coming to Petco Park. So to see some other superstars, come to Petco Park that we don't always see is pretty exciting.
It is exciting. 6 games again for the Dodgers at Petco Park before we go to L.A. I mean, if we win 4 out of those 6 or we split, how important is that for the momentum of that season series to get those at home that early?
It all depends how the season is. It's too early to talk because, we could win every game before them and just be like, well, okay, we lost them. Who cares? We're 20 games up on the division. Or we could we're totally out of it, but we'll beat the Dodgers. So it's, you just don't know until the season comes along. And I don't think anybody really cares about that on the players' side. Maybe fans do a little bit, but right now I think they're just thinking about this year and, just move past that.
Well, halfway through the season, we go to L.A. We go to L.A. over the 4th of July weekend for 4 at Dodger Stadium. Again, another interesting matchup at an interesting time in an interesting place. Then we're back home to take on the Diamondbacks and Blue Jays before the All-Star break in Philadelphia. We have a long road stretch after. This seems to be a theme on Padres schedules. Royals, Braves, Marlins. Royals, decent team. Braves, I expect them to bounce back. Marlins, you don't know. They're, historically not a great team, but they do have a lot of young talent. That could be a bit of a challenge. And then we roll in to August, home against the Giants, the Astros, Brewers. So the gauntlet begins again for the second half.
Yeah, it just seems like next year is going to be a tough schedule. So why don't we just win it all this year? And
yeah,
we
right.
can chalk it up if we don't do well. Then we're World Series, tired.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, when we were looking at this schedule, it seems that it's front loaded with teams that are at least better this year. We don't know what it's going to look like next year, of course. I mean, if we did we would have a much bigger following than we do, and we'd have piles of cash for sure. We'd have that sports almanac
Yeah,
that Biff added Back to the
I'm not going to
Future.
say bet on baseball, but there's a good chance I might be betting.
Twins, Pirates, Rays, Reds to end August. So that could be a nice little run for us there. September, we're home against the Yanks, the 4th to the 6th, and then at LA in a late series matchup, 22nd to the 24th. We could be talking playoff seeding. We could be talking division with that setup there. Again, season seems to tilt a little more challenging, then a little easier. Is that a good thing? Do you want to get the gauntlet out of the way early to see where you stack up, or do you want to ease your way into the grind and hit those games July, August, September?
Well, it's nice to get some early so you can get some wins under your belt. But honestly, I think most players look at where's opening day? Like, are we going to be home or on the road to start the season? Then, or are we going to open the season for anybody else? Because, it's kind of a big day. Then where are you going to be right before the All-Star break? And then it's literally, where are you right after the All-Star break? Are you at home or on the road? And then the last one is always, hey, where do we finish up? Do we finish at home or do we finish on the road? Do we have a long road trip at, sometimes there's a 10-game road trip right before the playoffs at the end of the season. And those are somewhat the worst, because you just don't know. You don't know if you're ever going to be home, especially if you're in the playoffs. So
the good thing is by your criteria there, the answers are home, home, away, home. So 3 out of 4.
I'm saying in spring training, I think most of the guys look at that and go, they'll probably be excited and be like, all right. But as a coaching, as a management, you kind of want some easy teams early on. But, early on, everybody can win the World Series. There's two ways about it. Everybody would love to have easy teams at the end, but the easy teams are trying new people, bringing guys up, so they're a little bit harder than you think. Or you just like to be, let's just face everybody and see if we can beat them up and show everybody that we're really good going into the playoffs.
Well, speaking of playing hard and playing well, we're going to have our next nominee coming up for the Friar Fave Award. Last week, we nominated Gavin Sheets. Our next nominee is coming up after the break. And by the way, if you have not followed our lovely podcast here, it's Believe in San Diego Baseball, BLEAV in San Diego Baseball. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeart. And by the way, you can find us on the web too at BLEAV. INSD.com. We got a ton of content, extra bonus features and whatnot, all at our website. Hit us up there as well. And give us a couple minutes and we'll be back here on Believe in San Diego Baseball. Welcome back to Believe in San Diego Baseball. My name is Alex Miniak, the voice of Petco Park and the host of this podcast alongside the 3-time All-Star and former Padre himself. His name is Heath Bell. Heath, we've been doing something here on the podcast called the Friar Fave Award. We're doing it through the last month of the season here. Of course, we need your input at our website, BelieveInSD.com, BLEAVINSD.com, because we're taking your votes there. Now, the Friar Fave Award, what is it? Well, it's for the unsung hero, the fan favorite, somebody who is not necessarily an all-star or huge award winner, but just day in and day out contributes to the team, makes an impact, and has a little fun as well. Gavin Sheets was our nominee last week. This week is nominee number 2. He goes by José Iglesias. Now, José Iglesias, veteran guy. Clubhouse loves him. Mets fans loved him last year. Solid MLB career. He's a bit of a journeyman, which I didn't know. This is his 8th team, the Padres. I can remember actually going back to 2010, he was in the Eastern League. When I worked in the Eastern League for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, he was on the Portland Sea Dogs, so it seems like Jose and I go back a long ways, and we're chasing each other around baseball. By the way, he did great in Double-A. He was a .285 hitter there. The numbers here in San Diego, I mean, they're not as sexy, .228, but Jose is such not a stat guy. And when I think of him, I'm not looking for him to boost his numbers. What I am looking for him to do is do everything. Second base, shortstop, third base, designated hitter, and he even got a start in left this year as well. Talk about this guy as a Friar Fave nominee, Heath.
Yeah, I think the fans love Jose. Jose is that type of guy that's like kind of an unsung hero. he could play just about every position. Sometimes like last year, he got really hot with the Mets and he was still playing all over the place and kind of carried the Mets on. Where this year, there's been times that he kind of carried and won some games for us. Jose is just, like I said, it's one of the unsung heroes where the fan, really a Padre fan, knows who Jose is. He can play everywhere. You see him sometimes at third base, shortstop, second, like I said, outfield, DH. He's willing to do it all. And there's not a lot of ball players that are willing to do that, year in and year out. Some guys get frustrated that they bounce around a little bit. He just takes it and goes, "Hey, man, I just go where I'm needed. And wherever I'm needed, that's where I'm at. And I do my best and I go out there and give 110%. And, Jose is a great guy."
Yeah, he is a great guy. He's fun to be around. He's got a big smile on his face anytime he plays. I mean, he's super competitive. You can see it when he's at bat or hustling around the diamond. But I love his energy. And I think he's the only player that I know of who's going to have a concert mid-season at Petco Park. I mean, he's got a burgeoning music career, is La Candelita, and he's going to be on stage in Gallagher Square. The date is September 25th. So, man, he brings his infectious energy from the diamond to the stage, and he can do both. Not only can he play every position, he can also play in other industries as well.
And he can sing.
The season.
Sing. There's a lot of guys think they can sing, but they can't sing, and he can.
No, he can sing. And the Mets fans loved his OMG song last year, so he's going to be bringing it down heading into the postseason at Petco Park. Well, I love the guy. Heath loves the guy. And if you love the guy, you can vote for him again at BelieveInSD.com, BLEAVINSD.com. Well, coming up on our next episode on Thursday, Padres are hitting the road again. They're going to Colorado. But who comes in? None other than the Savannah Bananas, and we got a Savannah Banana primer for you coming up on Thursday here on Believe in San Diego Baseball. So until then, my name is Alex Miniak, and for the three-time All-Star, Heath Bell, thanks for checking in, and we'll catch you next time on Believe in San Diego Baseball.
See you guys.